Annie, he's fast asleep.
Our friends have brought so many gifts.
But your sister got him the most valuable gift of all.
My family will do anything for our child's future. This will certainly support his higher education.
People's Bank Isuru Udana Gift Certificates, a valuable gift for any child.
In a few moments, the news.
People's Bank Isuru Udana Gift Certificates, a valuable gift for any child.
This is the Sri Lanka Broadcasting Corporation.
The time is precisely 1:15 p.m. This is the Sri Lanka Broadcasting Corporation. News edited by Ramesh Piris and read by Chandima Veerakon. Headlines. Sri Lanka Army to enlighten farmers on applying organic fertilizer. The Chinese Foreign Minister to visit the Colombo port city. All grades of school to open tomorrow. Over 4.3 million people have received the third or booster dose against COVID-19. A discussion to be held tomorrow over compensation for victims of gas-related accidents. The SLBC meets COVID vaccines requirement of Sri Lanka. The CEB says the Kalanitissa power station generator is fully restored. 580 new COVID-19 cases identified on Saturday, total rises to 591,231. On news overseas, the UN to hold talks in Sudan to end post-coup crisis. In sports news, it's cricket. SLBC imposes new rules on players intending to retire from national cricket. Local stories in detail. President Gotabaya Rajapaksa has said that the army will be deployed during the upcoming Yalla season to educate the public on how to apply organic fertilizer. The president made this revelation when he met a group of farmers in the Siambalandu area in Munaragala following the launch of 1,000 National Schools Establishment Program on Friday. The president said the army is there to explain everything to the public, not only the vaccination process. President Rajapaksa said he was able to bring in fertilizers such as urea, which farmers are accustomed to for some crops, and urged them to trust him first and foremost. The Chinese Foreign Minister Wang Yi, who arrived in Sri Lanka on a 2-day visit, is scheduled to meet the country's top leadership for bilateral talks today, while also marking the 65th anniversary of the diplomatic ties between the two countries. Wang, who arrived in Colombo from the Maldives on Saturday, will meet President Gotabaya Rajapaksa, Prime Minister Mahinda Rajapaksa and Foreign Minister G.L. Piris during the visit. His visit marks the 65th anniversary of diplomatic ties between the two nations and the 70th anniversary of the Lanka-China Rubber Rice Pact. The events marking the occasions will be held at the Chinese-built port city in central Colombo, one of the many mega infrastructure development projects supported by China since 2010. All grades of schools will be opened as usual from tomorrow. However, the Education Ministry said school canteens will no longer be allowed to open. They said after receiving health guidelines, measures will be taken to open school canteens. Accordingly, students have to bring their food from home or outside. According to the ministry, all school gates will be open in accordance with health regulations. Meanwhile, Colombo Zonal Education Director G.N. Silva requests the parents to attend their children to schools without fear. The Education Ministry has finished 100% vaccination drive to the education sector and urged parents to send their children to school without undue fear. Further, the vaccination drive for the children aged between 12 and 15 is underway. According to the Epidemiology Unit of the Health Ministry, 580 new COVID-19 cases were reported so far on Saturday. Accordingly, a total of 591,231 COVID-19 cases have been reported since the beginning of the pandemic, while 9,183 infected patients are currently under medical care at hospitals and homes. 566,936 patients have fully recovered and been discharged from hospitals. Sri Lanka on Saturday reported 13 deaths, raising the total to 15,112. Separately, the epidemiology unit of the Ministry of Health said 49,179 individuals were administered vaccine doses against the coronavirus yesterday. Accordingly to the epidemiology unit report, so far a total of 16,003,686 people have received a first dose of COVID-19 vaccine and 13,856,165 have received the second dose. In addition, the epidemiology unit said today over 4.3 million people were given the third or the booster dose against COVID-19 virus. This news comes to you from the Sri Lanka Broadcasting Corporation.
People's Bank Isuru Udana gift certificates, a valuable gift for any child.
Continuing with the local stories, the Ceylon Electricity Board says that the generator of the Kalanithissa power plant, which was out of order, is restored and will be in operation today. The CEB General Manager M.R. Ranatunga said, due to the maintenance of the Norachalai coal power plant, a capacity of 300 megawatts is currently being met from the Kalanithissa power plant. The CEB further said that the failure of the GT7 turbine at the Kalanithissa power plant due to a technical fault to meet that capacity was the reason for the power outages in some areas. In addition, the Ceylon Petroleum Corporation, at a discussion held yesterday, has agreed to supply the required amount of fuel. Accordingly, the General Manager of the Electricity Board, the full power supply will be available from today. The Minister of Health, Keheli Rambukala, says the service provided by all factions of the health sector during a tough period such as the coronavirus pandemic must be commended. The minister, speaking at an event recently, said in several developing countries, doctors, nurses and minor staff refused to report to work during the pandemic, while Sri Lanka's health workers continued their service with dedication and also sacrificed the safety of their families to serve the public. The health minister conveyed his appreciation and pride in Sri Lanka's medical sector. The Examinations Department will call for applications for the selection of invigilators for the 2021-2022 GCE Advanced Level Examination online. The due date for the acceptance of applications will be January 20th, 2022. The department requests the applicants to use their national identity card number to access the system. Accordingly, the applicants can download the applications through the www.doenets.lk website, through the DOE mobile application, or by visiting https://onlineexams.gov.lk EIC. The Health Ministry has alerted people about the number of hospitalizations and deaths caused by accidents, which steadily increase day by day. Health Ministry Consultant Community Physician, Non-Communicable Disease Unit, Dr. Samitha Siritunga said around 35,000 people are being hospitalized while around 35 individuals die of accidents daily. As per our calculations, the number of total hospital admissions per year has been estimated to increase 15 million by 2025, which means that 1 in 5 persons susceptible to get injured due to accidents, he argued. In addition, Dr. Siritunga said some 12,000 persons succumb to accidents annually. To end the local news, the headlines again. Sri Lanka Army to enlighten farmers on applying organic fertilizer. The Chinese Foreign Minister to visit the Colombo port city. All grades of schools to open tomorrow. Over 4.3 million people have received the third or booster dose against COVID-19. A discussion to be held tomorrow over compensation for victims of gas-related accidents. The SLBC meets COVID-19 vaccines requirement of Sri Lanka. The CEB says the Kalanitissa power station generator is fully restored. 580 new COVID-19 cases identified on Saturday. The total rises to 591,231. That ends the local news.
Your sister got him the most valuable gift of all.
My family will do anything for our child's future.
People's Bank Isuru Udana gift certificates, a valuable gift for any child.
The main news story is brought to you by Siddhalepa Vedamahatmya.
Moving on to the main news story. The State Minister of Consumer Protection, Lasantha Alagevanna, stated that discussions will be held tomorrow regarding the payment of compensation to the victims of gas-related accidents. Meanwhile, gas explosions were reported in many parts of the island today as well. That ends the main news story.
The main news story was brought to you by Siddhalepa Vedamahatmya.
Taking a look at Watchlight, the Central Bank of Sri Lanka has directed licensed banks to strictly adhere to the rules stipulated by the CBSL with regard to the conversion of foreign exchange proceeds of customers. Issuing a statement, the bank said that recent rules issued by the CBSL in respect of repatriation and conversion of export proceeds to Sri Lanka rupees have been misinterpreted and unfounded speculation has been spread that the CBSL rules require converting the entirety of workers' remittances forcibly into Sri Lanka rupees upon the receipt of such foreign exchange funds by the licensed banks. The CBSL stressed that rules on conversion of export proceeds do not apply to workers' remittances. Accordingly, it is not mandatory for Sri Lankans working abroad to convert their remittances into Sri Lanka rupees. That ends Watchlight.
Coming up, World News.
Headlines of the world news. The UN to hold talks in Sudan to end post-coup crisis. Iran sanctions more US officials over Soleimani assassination. James Webb Telescope completes epic deployment sequence. The United Nations has said it will hold talks in Sudan aimed at salvaging a fragile democratic transition amid a grinding deadlock following an October coup and the Prime Minister's resignation last week. Walker Perthes, the UN envoy for Sudan, said in a statement, key players in Sudan, including the military, rebel groups, political parties and protest movements, will be invited to take part in the process as well as civil society and women's groups. The Quad group, comprising Saudi Arabia, the United Arab Emirates and United Kingdom and the United States, voiced backing for the UN effort. Residents say at least 200 people in Nigeria's northwestern Zamfara state have been killed in a wave of vicious attacks by armed militants. The attacks are believed to be in response to military airstrikes that killed more than 100 fighters on Monday and forced others from forest hideouts. Gunmen burned homes and mutilated the bodies of their victims in the assault. The attacks are the latest in a wave of violent attacks in northwest Nigeria, where the central government has long been at war with a number of local criminal groups it has described as bandits. The biggest astronomical mirror ever sent into space is assembled and ready for focusing. The golden reflector, the centerpiece of the new James Webb Telescope, was straightened out on Saturday into its full 6.5-meter wide concave shape. The mirror had been folded like a drop-leaf table for the mission's Christmas Day launch. James Webb is set now to become a transformative tool in the study of all parts of cosmos. To end the world news, the headlines again. The UN to hold talks in Sudan to end post-coup crisis. Iran sanctions more US officials over Soleimani assassination. James Webb Telescope completes epic deployment sequence. That ends World News.
Development News is brought to you by Let's take all out of the coconut tree and make the island thriving and prosperous. Call our hotline 1928. WhatsApp 070 400 1928.
And on development news, the tourism sector, being a vital foreign exchange earner and source of employment in Sri Lanka's economy, has suffered multiple crises since the 2019 Easter attack and the ongoing COVID-19 pandemic. Recognizing the need to revitalize tourism, the European Union and the United Nations Development Programme in Sri Lanka have come together to support the government and people of Sri Lanka to build back tourism as a resilient and sustainable sector through the Transforming Tourism in Sri Lanka, emerging from crisis as a strong, resurgent and rebranded industry project. A key expected outcome of this initiative is to strengthen the tourism policy framework and institutional capacity at national level, providing vital policy direction to rebuild the tourism in the island. That ends Development News.
Development News was brought to you by the coconut tree is well grown in almost all the parts of the island. It is an exceptional source of extra income. The shell, the husk and almost all the parts of the coconut tree makes you money, providing you with an excellent extra source of income. It will also help to nourish the economy of the country. You will be guided with all necessary informations regarding the coconut cultivation, with the novel cultivation techniques and all other related and upgraded informations by the Coconut Research Institute, Lunavilla. Call our hotline 1928. WhatsApp 070 400 1928.
And now we take a look at sports news. In cricket, in the wake of cricketer Bhanuka Rajapaksa has announced his intention to retire from international cricket, the Sri Lanka cricket has taken a number of decisions on national players who intend to retire from national cricket. SLBC said, accordingly, national players who are intending to retire from national cricket should officially notify the local cricket governing body 3 months ahead, elaborating their intention to retire. In other cricket news, the second test between New Zealand and Bangladesh got underway in Christchurch this morning. Bangladesh won the toss and elected to field. At stumps, New Zealand posted 349 for the loss of a wicket. Tom Latham and Devon Conway scored 186 and 99 runs respectively. Meanwhile, on the fifth day of the fourth Ashes encounter in Sydney, in the final session of the game, England were 249 for the loss of 8 wickets short while ago, with Jack Leach and Stuart Broad at the crease. England trailed by 139 runs and is facing an impending defeat by a far superior Aussie lineup who had outclassed their arch-rivals in all aspects of this game. Earlier, Zach Crawley and Ben Stokes showed gusty resilience, with the bat scoring 77 and 60 runs respectively. That ends sports news.
Cash through NSP globally and win wonderful gifts locally. From October 1st, 2021 to December 31st, 2022. Remit a minimum of $100 or an equivalent amount in any foreign currency 3 times through NSB U Trust.
Business News, sponsored by National Savings Bank, the safest place for your money.
Award-winning fintech software development provider Digital Payment Services Private Limited has been selected to custom develop a comprehensive digital banking platform for Commercial Bank of Ceylon, Bangladesh. The solution will be the first of its kind in Bangladesh, incorporating a number of innovative features to improve the speed of onboarding new customers as well as introducing new banking products and services. That ends Business News.
Business News, sponsored by
Cash through NSP globally and win wonderful gifts locally. Will you be the lucky winner of the NSP Golden Jubilee? 50 gold sovereigns for the top prize winner of the NSP Golden Jubilee, scooters for the 10 second prize winners, iPhones for the 10 third prize winners, mountain bikes for the 29 fourth prize winners. From October 1st, 2021 to December 31st, 2022. Remit a minimum of $100 or an equivalent amount in any foreign currency 3 times through NSB U Trust.
Economic news, courtesy of...
I bought my daughter a laptop for her work by managing my finances. Whatever the expenses may be, I can't afford to miss out on life's special moments like her birthday or our anniversary. So you need to invest to make your family's future flourish.
Saving money isn't easy when you have responsibilities. That's why we promise to give you the best returns and guarantee on your investment. LOLC Finance Fixed Deposits. Maximize your savings. LOLC Finance PLC, incorporated on the 13th of December 2001, is rated SLA stable by ICRA Lanka Limited and is licensed by the Monetary Board of the Central Bank of Sri Lanka under the Finance Business Act No. 42 of 2011.
And on economic news, the Bangladesh Bank has extended the validity of the credit facility it extended to Sri Lanka by 3 months. The loan facility has been renewed following a request from the island nation. Bangladesh extended the credit facility amounting to $200 million under a currency swap deal with Sri Lanka. The island nation received the loan facility from Bangladesh in 3 tranches. That ends economic news.
Saving money isn't easy when you have responsibility. That's why we promise to give you the best returns and guarantee on your investment. LOLC Finance Fixed Deposits. Maximize your savings. LOLC Finance PLC, incorporated on the 13th of December 2001, is rated SLA stable by ICRA Lanka Limited and is licensed by the Monetary Board of the Central Bank of Sri Lanka under the Finance Business Act No. 42 of 2011.
The Weather Report.
And finally, we take a look at the weather report. The Meteorological Department forecasts several spells of showers to occur in the northern, north central, eastern and Uva provinces and in Matale and Nuwara Eliya districts. Showers or thundershowers will occur at several places in the western, Sabaragamuwa and southern provinces during the evening or at night. Fairly heavy showers above 50 mm may occur at some places in the Ratnapura, Kalutara, Gaul and Mathura districts. Further, the Meteorological Department cautions the naval and fishing communities to be vigilant over the possibility of developing a low-level atmospheric disturbance to the southeast of the country during the next few days. That ends the weather report. And to conclude this bulletin of news, the headlines again. Sri Lanka Army to enlighten farmers on applying organic fertilizer. The Chinese Foreign Minister to visit the Colombo port city. All grades of school to open tomorrow. Over 4.3 million people have received the third or booster dose against COVID-19. A discussion to be held tomorrow over compensation for victims of gas-related accidents. The SLBC meets COVID vaccines requirement of Sri Lanka. The CEB says the Kalanithissa power station generator is fully restored. 580 new COVID-19 cases identified on Saturday. Total rises to 591,231. In news overseas, the UN to hold talks in Sudan to end post-coup crisis. In sports news, SSE imposes new rules on players intending to retire from national cricket. With that, we conclude this bulletin of news from the Sri Lanka Broadcasting Corporation.